Booyakasha! Welcome back to the most controversial podcast in the country. As if hindi enough yung mga sinabi ko about the pink movement and all. Kanina marami naman galit. May pinost ako kay Kaloy. Diba? Sabi ko, ang ganda ng forma niya. Medyo parang Chloe rin. So sabi ko, clone. So ang dami nagalit na naman. Sabi ko, ano ba naman yan? Bawal na mag-comment nowadays. I mean, come on. People are
Ano
crazy.
yun? Ano yun? Anong kalo yun?
Hindi, si Kaloy kasi nasa Korea ata siya. Tapos nag-fashion siya na parang non-binary or something like that. Na similar kay Chloe yata, yung girlfriend niya. Or I don't know kung sinuot niya yan. So he
Mm-hmm.
said, witticism, clone. Chloe, tapos
Mm-hmm.
Eddie, di ba? Tapos ang dami na naman nag-react. Ayan na naman. Sabi pa ni Gretchen, no, troll ka talaga. Sabi ko, I'm just I'm just observing na, syempre, best boyfriend in the universe. Dapat triple gold medal for best boyfriend siya, di ba? No, honestly, I enjoy the guy. Alam mo, Ronald, siguro ang disagreement lang natin ng konti. Ay, by the way, kasama po natin. Kanina, kung Wataru-san ng Tokyo University ang kasama natin, Tokyo University of Foreign Studies. Ngayon, kasama natin ang best product of Japan, the Nippon Nation. Kasama po natin ngayon si Lord Toranaga. Salamat, Lord Toranaga, low bat version. Para tayo may sakit ngayon, no? Parang hindi ako sanay. Kamusta sa Ronald?
Yeah, binanggit ko siya kanina ito sa bilyonaryo, si Toronaga.
Toranaga, yeah. Idol, idol. So Sir Ronald, I
Ah,
think both people are gonna be shocked. This is gonna be the most low bat version of R&R. So I might postpone na my return to Baguio for now. I have to check kung hopefully there's nothing COVID-ish or something. Kasi syempre, si Lolang bibisitahin ko so I have to make sure everything. Medyo puyat-puyat. Ikaw, paano ka nagkasakit? Puyat din para tayo, Sir Ronald?
Oo, araw-araw po yan eh. Tapos ang
Paano
dami pang
naman?
mga activities. Nagkakaroon kami kanina, special congress ng Akbayan para
Oh,
sa mga nominees. Para sa mga nominees.
OMG.
So,
OMG, you're the perfect
mm.
co-host. Talagang galing talaga ni R&R. Next year, Sir Ronald, mag-live na tayo from hearings in Congress, in Senate, lalo with the T3 coming, tatlong tulfo. But I look forward to the hearings in the Congress, especially if and when Chel Jokno will represent Akbayan at the Philippine House of Representatives. Kamusta, Sir Ronald? What is the news on the ground? How did Chel Jokno end up as the first nominee, not just any nominee, but first nominee of Akbayan? To the degree that you can share the conversations and discourse, what can you share, Lord Tornaga?
Well, una ay yung mga principles, visions ng akbayan ay hindi naman malayo sa mga visions at saka principles ni Shell Jokno. Actually, sobrang magkalapit. Kaya mahalaga kasi sa akbayan yung same beliefs, same analysis, no? Kaya yun yung una, no? Ikalawa ay dahil nga dito sa near defeat na akbayan dito
Yeah,
sa last election ay gusto rin ng akbayan na magdagdag ng mga new blood, no, yung to think out of the box. Kaya
right,
si ang tingin kay Shell Jokno ay isang value added dun
right,
sa limits ng akbayan. Tapos ikatlo, dahil dito sa mga bakbakan ngayon, bardagulan, sa
right,
Quadcom, sa Senate hearings, sa Congress hearings, sa budget, etc. Kailangan mo lang mga katulad ni Congressman Luistro na
right. Very good point. Very good.
may wherewithal para hindi lamang para makipagbardagulan kung hindi may rigor, no, may rigor. At
Right,
si Shell being dating long time leader ng Free Legal Assistance Group ng FLAG at saka ng dean ng LaSalle Law School ng tawag ngayon ay Jokno Tanyada Law School. I think malaki yung kanyang value added. Hindi lamang sa akbayan, kung hindi sa Congress at sa bansa. Lalo na nag-scale
right,
up na yung ganitong klaseng mga bakbakan. Dati kasi medyo natutulog ang Congress eh. Ngayon humahabol ang Congress sa Senado. Hindi lamang sa mga Senate hearing, kundi sa mga expose. Lalo na nitong nakaraang mga araw. Biro mo, ang tindi ng mga lumabas tungkol kay Garma, ang tindi ng mga lumabas tungkol dito sa sinabi ni Espenido na mga criminal elements within the PNP. At grabe yung mga huling testigo. No? Biro mo, isang ex-general ng PNP na board member ng PCSO ay ang claim ng mga testigo ay mismo si Garma ang nagpatira. No? So, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Mukhang marami
Right.
pang lalabas in the next few weeks, months,
Right.
years. Yeah.
Sir Ronald,
Kailangan mo ng mga mas magagaling na mga legal luminaries
right.
na tutulong dito sa scaling up ng Kongreso.
So again, I think we're gonna all both strongman each other. I think both of us are at our low energy level now. So let me come in and essentially, so ang argument dito is, in fairness, thanks to Congressman Luis Tro Gutierrez, among others, medyo umangat-ungat yung prestige ng Congress. And just as the prestige of Congress has been going up, the prestige of the Senate has been going down. And there's an expectation that we'll have, no offense, more clown shows. I mean, it's going to be even more interesting, likely, in the next Senate. So in that world, if you are Chel Jokno, you're looking at the numbers, you're looking at the landscape, it's not the worst thing to be in the Congress. And as far as being in the
Yes.
Congress is concerned, Akbayan represents the greatest point of convergence in terms of advocacy, yung mga adikain, yung mga pwedeng mangyari. And now we can imagine Chel Jokno shining big time in the Congress as things get more interesting. Because it's very possible next year, they'll push pa for constitutional change or something like that, mumbo jumbo. So you need the good guys to be there in the Congress and fight the good fight with authority. So hindi na siya kibam. Kibam na lang. Kibam.
Mukha. Mukha. Ah, At magandang kung makakaupo si Shell Jokno, magandang addition siya dun sa history ng akbayan sa Kongreso. From Eta Rosales to Risa Ontiveros, Professor Mario Aguja, to Walden Bello, Kakabag-Aw, Governor Kakabag-Aw, to Congressman Tom Villarin, no? Percy Sendanya. So, maraming mga dagdag. At ngayon, for the first time, meron kaming uh, galing sa Mindanao na uh, sister Muslim natin na leader ng mga Muslim women uh, sa Mindanao as a nominee. No? As a
Second
nominee.
nominee or third nominee?
Third nominee.
Third
No?
nominee. Third nominee. Ronald, I'll go back to this again more. I mean, obviously, I think we're in interesting times because if Leila de Lima also makes it to the Congress through the Mamamayan Liberal parties, you can imagine Leila de Lima, Chel Jokno, lalo mag-level up itong Congress na to. And I can imagine they will hold the line if the next Congress tries to do something mumbo jumbo, not against the Dutertes per se, but in favor of the Marcoses. So I think we really need to have good people there in the Congress. In addition to Senate,
Yes.
I think we have to be just realistic. The Senate race is looking really, really crazy, which we'll discuss more later on. Um, uh, Ronald, for the purpose of the people who are not very familiar, I know paulit-ulit natin sinasabi yan, pero we need to do this, Ronald. Can you explain to us what is Akbayan Party? What is the difference from the Makabayan Bloc and all of those similarly sounding groups na militant? And more importantly, what is the process by which Akbayan selects its nominee? To what degree is this a real, legitimate, modern, participatory democratic decision?
Well, nung nagsimula yung akbayan, ay pagsasama ito hindi lamang ng tatlong political blocks. Yung Popular Democrats, yung Democratic Socialists, yung Social Democrats, kung hindi pagsasama rin ng mga civil society groups, trade unions, dahil ang tingin nila ay sayang yung democratic space na na-open nung EDSA Revolution at yung 87 Constitution kung hindi ito i-maximize ng mga progressive organizations, kung hindi sila magsasama-sama. At yung mga dating mga members ng Akbayan before Akbayan ay usually mga very suspicious sa electoral arena. Very skeptical tungkol dito sa parliamentary struggle. Pero nung 98, through the party list system, na kasama sila sa nagkampanya noong 95, ay nakita nila ito yung parang entry point. Imaginin mo, after EDSA, more than 10 years bago nag-participate itong mga civil society, itong political blocks na ito sa electoral struggle. Ibig sabihin, more than 1 decade yung nasayang, no, after EDSA to maximize the democratic space. Pero kahit medyo huli, ay at least nag-unite at nakapasok dito sa parliamentary arena through the party system, at eventually local elections, mga mayors, even a governor katulad ni Kakabagaw, mga barangay, village officials, at even the Senate through Senator Risa Hontiveros. So bagamat ito ay hindi pa naman ganun ka-dominant, at least maganda siyang investment ng progressive movement dito sa parliamentary electoral arena. So, yun yung summary niyan. At nung simula ay karamihan na sa leadership ng akbayan ay galing sa mga sectors, galing sa mga organizers, lalo na ng trade unions. Halimbawa, I was a party president for 14 years at ang pinanggalingan ko ay trade unions, no? Pero ngayon, marami sa mga leaders ngayon ay galing sa youth movement, galing sa LGBTQI movement. No? So, mga kwan ngayon, mga Gen Z at saka millennials ang leadership ngayon. No? Unlike nung more than half ng, uh, ng panahon ng akbayan, karamihan ay galing sa mga trade union organizations. No?
Uh, Sir Ron, I want to ask you also about Percy Lapid because I think people know very well Chel, they know very well Risa, they know very well you, ETA, among other luminaries, not to mention Walden Bellew. But a little bit, I want us to talk about also Percy and why should people look forward also to the incoming service of this great progressive. But before that, I want to ask you on a personal note, Ronald. I know we did this in our very first podcast together. I don't know if you remember it, around 1.5 years ago, and we had the long conversation about your journey. But just to remind people, Ronald, what was your journey to what was your progressive journey? Because my understanding is you started a little bit on the radical side and then you moved to the center, a parliamentary approach.
Hindi naman. I started sa UST. I was the first president of the first student council sa University of Santo Tomas. Actually, the first student council sa University Belt noong 1979, 1980. Halos kasabay yata namin ng UP na nagtayo ng student council noon. On our own, tapos eventually ay napasok kami sa mga sectoral organizing while in college at naging editor din ng mga campus publications dahil journalism ako noon. Kaya eventually ay naging bahagi kami ng isang socialist movement, democratic socialist movement noong mid-80s. Pero namulat ako not through political parties, namulat ako not through katulad mo mga Marxist books, no? Ay namulat ako dahil sa
Not true, not true. Hegel, more right wing
namulat ako
Hegel.
through my parents dahil yung mother ko nasa Department of National Defense, Office for Detainees Affairs. So namulat ako sa kanya dun uh, sa ginagawa sa mga political detainees during martial law, no? Doon ko nalaman sa kanya yung about torture, about even rape ng mga political detainees, no? At sa father ko naman nasa Napolcom, sa kanya ko natutunan yung hindi ko alam dati na police corruption dahil yun yung kanyang department sa Napolcom. So namulat ako sa aking mga magulang na lahat ay government employees, uncle, auntie, father, mother, lahat, no? At hindi lang sa government, no? Sa defense establishment at sa Napolcom. So when I entered college, may kaunti na akong background about what's happening around me. At dahil ako ay nung ako ay pumasok sa college, punong-puno ng energy, kahit walang political vision, walang ideology, parang hinog na hinog ako noon para ma-recruit ng mga progressive organizations. At yun nga nangyari. And then nag-drop out ako sa college. I started organizing trade unions, mga farmers, at saka mga urban poor. And eventually participated dun sa EDSA uprising. Actually, nag-participate ako noong 85 para buuin yung bayan noon, yung first
Right.
broad coalition against the Marcos dictatorship.
Right.
Hindi tumagal, on the second day ng Congress ay nabiyak, and some of us formed our own group. Ito nga yung grupo nila Dodong Nemenso, nila Randy David. Noong 85, nung nag-collapse yung bayan, we formed BSIG, Union for the Advancement of Socialist Ideas and Action. BSIG. No? So, and then, just 1, 2 years after that, ay nangyari na yung EDSA. At after EDSA, ay sumama ako doon sa pagbubuo ng isang historic labor alliance, the broadest of its kind, since nung CLO nung 1950s at saka 60s. No? Ang tawag dito, Labor Advisory and Consultative Council. All the legendary trade union leaders nandun, from Johnny Tan of Federation of Free Workers, sila Lando Olalia, no, yung mag-amang Olalia, yung mga si Crispin Beltran, etc. Papsing Malonzo. So I was the youngest trade union leader then dun sa grupo na yan. Sinuwerte ako na itong mga legends ng labor movement ay inabutan ko. Sila Angel Backing, no, sila Papsing Malonzo, no. These are the legends na nababasa ko lang before nung ako ay nasa college, no. At yun, pero sayang hindi rin siya tumagal. Siguro mga 2 years ay nag-fold up din siya. Pero yung panahon na yan, after EDSA, ito yung golden age ng coalitions. Dito nabuo yung Congress for the People's Agrarian Reform, na lahat ng mga peasant groups ay nagsama-sama. Itong LACC, lahat ng labor groups, yung Urban Poor Forum, mga urban poor groups, no? Yung National Movement for Civil Liberties ni Renato Constantino, no? Tapos yung Freedom from Death Coalition, which at that time was the broadest coalition. So itong after EDSA hanggang siguro 90s, ito yung golden age ng progressive coalitions. Sayang, hindi na naulit. Hindi na naulit.
But gusto ko balikan yung coalition issue. Ronald, you want to get some hot water or something for your throat? I'm worried for you also. Going back to this, ako, the reason why I ask about why the democratic progressive socialist route is because, I mean, you and I, Ronald, both of us are very feisty personalities. Let's just put it nicely. I think both of us have very strong sense of social injustice, and I mean, for all of our patawa, which we'll do again shortly, even if low energy kami, there's a serious force that is animating us. Why didn't the idea of, okay, I want to use the term protracted people's, a revolution or something like that. But why doesn't the idea of revolutionary change, upheaval, why didn't that attract you? Why do you still believe in the parliamentary system, considering na alam naman natin binababoy yung party list system ng mga trapos, binababoy ng mga dynasties ang democratic institutions natin? Why have you kept your faith in the very flawed parliamentary system? Why do you believe in reform in that sense, peaceful reform and change?
Well, una, yung mga naka-influence sa akin in college ay mga religious leaders. Halimbawa, yung una kong na-meet ay si Father Romeo Intengan, who eventually became the head of the Jesuits in the country. Na-meet ko rin si a young priest noon, si Father Chito Tagle, na ngayon ay number 3 highest official ng Vatican, si Cardinal Chito Tagle. I used to hide dun sa kanyang tahanan ng mabuting pastol. Siya yung rector noon, a young rector, a young priest. Siya yung nagbigay sa akin ng seminar, my first seminar on fascism, the national security ideology. I was very young then, mga 18, 19. Si Father Romeo Intenga, na-meet ko when I was 16, 17. So, nagsimula ako na based on a very progressive, liberative faith. Yung aking mga unang seminar has nothing to do with yung mga si Hegel at si Marx, no? Liberation theology na nung panahon kasi na yan, meron ding mga bagong dynamic sa Catholic Church, lalong-lalo na sa Latin America. So, doon ako nagsimula.
So
Kaya
nested in progress. So essentially, it's a progressive Catholicism, not too dissimilar from our current Pope, right? Pope Francis
yes,
from is very
a
progressive.
progressive Christianity, no? A progressive Christianity, no? Na yan yung mga una ko nabasa. Sila Gustavo Gutierrez, no? Yan yung mga nag-shape sa akin nung simula. Ikalawa, dahil nangyari yan yung panahon na very strong yung communist movement, at very strong yung dictatorship, naghanap ka ng alternative. There must be something better than fascism and communism. Kaya
Third
doon
way.
kami naghanap ng alternative at nadiskubre namin yung democratic socialism. Of course, nadiskubre namin yan sa Europe, pero eventually ay ginawa namin mas a Philippine version ng democratic socialism. Kaya kahit relatively maliit kami kumpara doon sa mga ibang leftist organizations, we wanted to plant the seeds of an alternative that something better than communism or fascism, yung tingin namin yung kinakailangang masimulan dito sa ating bansa, especially during those heyday ng late 70s at saka early 80s.
I mean, in many ways, you were also kind of a Hegelian negation of negation. You were an alternative also to the alternative, right? You were a different form of progressive alternative from the Makabayan bloc or other blocks here. Just to be clear,
In a way,
I'm not making judgments
way.
because we had other folks here from that side, including Ma'am Franz Castro. Shout out to you. Thank you so much for the fantastic discussion we're having. So I'm not here to throw shades or anything. I'm just trying to help people distinguish different groups because you're not the same, right? And each of you brings something different to the table.
In a way, actually, ang mga una kong mga naka-influence sa akin is more si Gramsci. No? Si Gramsci, yung kanyang prison notebooks, nabasa ko nung college. No? So, naka-influence sa akin ng malalim yung mga ideas at saka yung mga
Western Marxism, cultural Marxism.
yes, in a way yung Frankfurt School, no? Sila Marcuse, no?
Oppenheimer,
Sila
yeah, and all of that. Yeah, the whole,
Horkheimer,
yeah.
no? Yun yung mga nakakuha sa akin. Na naghahanap ng a more democratic alternative than yung dominant leftist ideology ng panahon na yun.
And a focus on culture, influence of culture, patterns of capitalist reproduction, influence of Hollywood, things like that, right? That's what the Frankfurt School was very good, especially when
Yes,
they were
it's in a
exiled
way
out.
anti-dogmatism. Anti-dogmatism ng traditional left, no? Siyempre hindi naman perpekto yung mga ideologues na yan. Pero at ang common sa kanila ay yung anti-dogmatism, no? A more open political discourse, a more open leftist politics.
I'm glad we're having this discussion because I think people have to understand where we're coming from. No, I mean that there's a lot going in the background before we arrive at things that we're doing right now. Now let's talk about Percy, Ronald. Can we talk about Percy and what the new congressman is bringing to the table?
Well, si Percy ay na-recruit namin nung siya ay nasa college pa. Siya yung unang openly gay
Ateneo,
president.
Ateneo, right?
UP. Siya yung
Pala,
first
UP. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
siya yung first openly gay president ng UP Student Council, no? Kaya alam mo naman ang UP, 'di ba? Very dominant diyan ang leftist politics, no? Pero at that time, yung leftist politics ay nahahaluan na ng mga identity issues. At very defining yung pagiging presidente niya ng UP Student Council as the first openly gay student leader. at that time. No? Dahil hindi masyadong napag-uusapan yan eh. Masyadong dominant ang usapin ng class, masyadong dominant yung usapin ng imperialism, no? Masyadong dominant yung usapin ng economic determinism. Pero during that time ay nasisimula na rin yung sabi mo nga, yung discourse about culture ay yung discourse about identity, yung discourse about gender.
Which
Kaya
kind of anticipated our era of identity-based politics, right?
yes.
We're
So
ahead of the curve.
clearly, Percy, nung siya estudyante, ay progressive. Clearly, nung na-recruit namin siya ay naging socialist. Pero also very clear na kasama sa kanyang ideology ay yung identity issues, yung gender issues. No? Kaya mismo within our circles, mismo within sa akbayan, ay naging healthy contribution doon sa ideological formulation yung gender politics, yung identity issues. No?
Right.
At si Percy, in a way, represented that tendency. Yung bagong element na yon doon sa mga traditional discourse namin nila Randy, nila Dodong Nemenso, nila Walden Bello,
The
no?
class.
Nakadagdag yon. At tingin ko na-enrich niya yung ideological formulation ng akbayan at yung bigger progressive movement na kinakatawan ng akbayan.
But Percy will just have what, 6, 7 months in the
8
Congress?
months.
8
8 months.
months. So hindi na siya
At kung
tatakbo.
at kung sakaling manalo ng 2 seat ang akbayan, ay pwede siyang magkaroon ng second term, no?
Second nominee
Pero
ba siya?
mahalaga dahil first time kami natalo sa aming more than 25 years na history. First time namin natalo noong 2019. Yung height ng Duterte government.
Right. Which was the lowest for the rest of us.
Yes. So, meron kami mga close calls nung panahon ni Arroyo, no? Pero yung pinaka nanganib ang akbayan was during the time of Duterte. Dahil hindi lang siya usapin ng harassment. Hindi lang siya usapin ng extrajudicial killings. Usapin siya na 93% ng ating population we're supporting Duterte. So ang hirap mag-organize, ang daling ma-demonize dahil nga sobrang overwhelming
Yung fear
yung support.
factor. I
Yeah.
had Wataru-san here who did on-the-ground research, nag-embed siya sa communities in Visayas region, in Ilocos, in Manila, and he said daming takot yung time na yan. There was really a climate of fear.
Yeah, it's a combination of fear and at the same time yung popularity ni Digong, the Duterte brand was very dominant. So hirap mag-organize because of fear, pero at the same time hirap mag-organize at saka mag-recruit dahil nga dun sa support ni Digong. Sabi ka namin nun, kung isasama mo yung margin of error halos 3% lamang yung
baka negative.
Yung ayaw kay Digong, no? So that was the first time we lost.
But Ronald, now 2024 is 0.6%. So I'm just saying it's a huge improvement from 0 or negative 3. You have made a huge improvement, my friend. You have made a huge improvement. That's a big jump from negative to 0.
Siguro yun yung isang aspeto ng aking personality. Bagaman binuo yung akbayan, binuo yung electoral movement, ay ako bilang as a person, tingin ko hindi ko linya yon. I would rather be a campaign manager, I would rather be an organizer ng
a vlogger,
rather than
a lover.
Rather than be a candidate, no? Kaya huwag kayo maniwala sa mga sinasabi ng mga mambubudol.
But Ronald, let me say to our audience now, especially on Twitter among others, because I saw some clamor kahapon. Huwag kayong mag-alala. Kunyari lang sinasabi ni Ronald, sa 2028, we're gonna launch something. So don't worry about it. May money pa kami. Now, since naka-crocodile ako dito sa shirt ko ngayon, even though it's a pink shirt, pag-usapan natin yung mga hearings ngayon sa Congress and all. Yung Quadcom is going crazy, isn't it? Medyo grabe level of revelations and all. Medyo insane, no?
Grabe, no? Grabe na nga yung sinabi ni Espinido, yung poster boy ng podcast a couple of months ago, di ba? Na totoo pala itong quota para sa extrajudicial killings. Totoo pala yung ugnayan ng Pogo, ng drugs with EJK. No, totoo pala itong mga criminal elements within the Philippine National Police. Sabi nga niya, the biggest criminal organization is the Philippine National Police. No? Hindi mo aasahan yan during the time of Duterte dahil ito sa Espinido ay poster boy nung Tokhang. Pero ito, no, uh, I cannot imagine anyone calling the Philippine National Police noon or ngayon as the biggest criminal organization, no? Pero hindi pa natapos doon. Lumabas pa itong mga bagong testimony tungkol doon sa mga pinapatay ni President Duterte sa loob mismo ng kulungan, sa loob mismo ng penal colony. At nagpasalamat pa daw yung presidente doon sa mga nag-implement na yun at ang ginamit na salita ay ginawang dinuguan, no? Ginawang dinuguan, no? At since then, ang dami pang lumabas, no? Katulad dito, no, yung killing ng isang police general na board member ng PCSO. Nakita ko pa yung video noon eh. Nung nangyari yun, more than 2 years ago. Nakita ko pa yung pagpatay sa kanya. Tapos ngayon, yung mga pumatay, yung mga nagpapatay, ay umaamin ngayon in a quad hearing. So mukhang nagsisimula pa lamang itong mga expose na ito dahil sa libo-libong napatay, tingin ko marami pang ibang tetestigo, no? Pero
And tuloy-tuloy yan after di ba, hearings can continue even if mag-break yung Congress, di ba? There was
yes,
so
yes.
tuloy-tuloy ito for the weeks to come. So yung mga
Halimbawa, kahapon may lumabas si Montalban, may sinulat siya tungkol dun sa testimony ni Las Cañas na hawak ngayon ng International Criminal Court as a witness na ito si Garma, ito pala yung ito daw yung head ng hit squad ni Bongo, no? Ni Bongo, no? So hindi lang si Bato ang nai-implicate dito. Hindi lamang itong mga
Bongo, si Polong,
former
ano.
PNP chief, no? Talagang si Bongo na akala mo ay hindi makabasag pinggan, no? Ay meron din palang sariling hit squad. At itong Garma ay yung head ng hit squad na yon. At least according to Las Cañas, no?
Yeah. But
So
Roland, a part of
hindi
me
hindi
is saying,
dito
yeah.
matatapos dito sa mga hearings na ito.
Which in a way, diba, makes it even easier for the ICC to come in with more legitimacy, right? When you have an administration who earlier said walang jurisdiction ng ICC, and then now the same administration or friends of the same administration are exposing all of these kababalakan, lahat ng budul games, lahat ng EJKs. Once the ICC warrant comes up, by that time, the legitimacy is settled, diba? Kasi sabi niya, we have proven with our own institutions that talagang grabe yung ginawa ng mga tao. So, don't be surprised if we allow ICC to issue the red notice or if will be open. Diba? Parang it makes sense, diba? Na just
Yes.
lay out, as you say, lay down the predicate, made it absolutely clear, once it's bulldozered and clear na walang bahit na duda na itong mga Duterte sa mga Budul Kings, itong mga Duterte sa nag-oversee na lahat ng mga krimen na yan, then it perfectly makes sense, logically, legally, and politically, for BBM to say, pwede na yan,
Yes.
kadight na yan sa
Pero
ICC.
two-edged to eh. Two-edged to,
Absolutely, of
Richard.
course.
Dahil in one sense, ay yung mga matagal nang sinasabi ng ICC ay nadja-justify. No? Na talagang this is state organized crimes against humanity. No? Itong nangyayari dito sa ICC. Pero at the same time, pwede kasing sabihin ng iba, dahil lumalabas na ito ngayon within our legislature, within our judicial system, may mga kaso ng isasampa. The other day, sabi na ni Congressman Pimentel, isampa na kagad yan sa mga korte. Pwedeng sabihin ng mga Duterte, hindi na kailangan ng ICC. Gumagana naman ang ating justice system. So, pwede nilang gamitin yan. No?
Actually, I saw
Pero
that. But
I doubt
let's
if
still
they
the
will
ICC
vote for
issue
that.
that, diba? Let's still the ICC issue the red notice. Use that as a Damocles sword, but still insisted. It's like the Kiboloy case, right? The extradition. You essentially, Marcos is saying it's a matter of time. The extradition request is there, but we'll take a first crack at him, and then we'll see if we'll give it to you guys. So baka ganun din ang mangyari, diba? Na-expose namin, na-investigate namin, ICC is also here. So double whammy nila mga Dutertes. The only way I can see this,
Sana.
diba? Sana,
Sana
diba? You
ganun
can see.
mangyari.
Exactly, diba? But the only way I can see this as kind of back, creating a kind of a backlash or something is if magaling magpaawa effect. And speaking of paawa effect, I think if you're Bato right now, you're gonna pull out all your Bato School of Dramatics tricks right now, right? Kasi alanganin ka sa surveys. Not so much Bongo, but Bato is alanganin. Pulong and Basta are not even within the range. Digong probably is too old to even run for Senate. Let's talk about the desperate situation of these DDS people.
Yes, halimbawa, itong mga latest survey, si Bato is number 12, si Digong is number 11, no? So, kung ikaw ay opposition, wala ka
7
sa
to 11. So
administration.
actually marami siyang katay. Hindi siya sigurado sa top 12.
Oh, pero delikado 'yan, ha? Delikado 'yan dahil for a long time si Digong nasa top 3, top 4, 'di ba? Ngayon ay nandoon siya sa last 2, 'di ba? Significant 'yan, no? Lalo na yung kanilang political base ay medyo naubos na at mismo si Sara, yung kanilang kwan ngayon, standard bearer ay bumababa rin dramatically, no? Ang kwan ko lang ngayon, ang concern ko lang ay yung Senado, may mga bad signals na lumalabas. Halimbawa, itong pagkatay sa budget ni Sara sa House, sa Senate, iba yung position halimbawa ng mga katulad ni Jinggoy. Si Jinggoy ba majority floor leader sa Senate, no? Tapos si Joel Villanueva, no? Ang mga statements nila ay balak nilang ibalik yung tinanggal na budget ng House, no? Tapos may mga ilang senador nagsasabi na teka, palakasin niyo muna yung kaso for impeachment bago niyo ibigay sa amin. So may mga ganung mga ibang
But
mga
Ron, that's what I
statement.
was saying, di ba? Doon sa show ni
Yeah.
Patrick, sabi ko, marami dyan sa Senado na maggaganon sila. Di ba? Di ba we're
Yes.
talking about whether it is number 8. And then I said, okay,
Yeah.
sa graceful, maybe I will accept your version. But my version is you have enough of Villanueva and Jingois and all who want to play both sides, who you cannot rely on to give you the votes, 17, 16 votes to get the impeachment through. So, look at it. This is what I've been saying, Ronald. May mga ganun type eh.
Yes. Pero
Tinulungan
halimbawa
ng admin, pero ngayon nagsisave sa mga Duterte.
pero ako hindi ako masyadong concerned kay Jinggoy. Yan din yung position niya nung corona impeachment eh. No, ang
Eventually
sabi niya,
pumaligtad.
he won't vote for conviction. Pero eventually he voted for conviction. So some of the senators, no, hine-hedge nila yung kanilang posisyon
That's
to
my point.
negotiate terms, no. Alam mo naman, 'di ba? Magne-negotiate sila eh.
It's
Tapos yung mga re-electionists na halos lahat ay kasama sa administration slate, no? Syempre naghahanap yan ng dagdag na budget, no, sa kampanya, no.
If you're
So,
what about Mick Zubiri, who's from Mindanao? Shouldn't you be a little bit careful about babanggaan mo yung mga Duterte, considering you're Mindanao based?
yes, pero ang boto mo kasi is nationwide eh. Yung boto ng mga senador ay nationwide. Pero si Migs is not a re-electionist, no? So yung mga re-electionist na 7, na 2 ay manggagaling dun sa PDP, 5 ay nasa admin slate, no? At least yung kanilang mga successor katulad ng Villar nasa admin slate, no? Ay magka-calculate 'yan. Ilang bang boto ang mawawala sa kanila kung i-convict nila si Sara? Diba? Yun yung kina-calculate nila. Binabalance nila yan eh. Ilan naman ang may dadagdag ng administration in terms of resources at saka votes at saka machinery kung sila ay susunod sa impeachment. So,
Ronald, parang alam mo yan. Yan siguro ginawa niyo nung panahon yan. I think
wala
everyone's
akong
talking about the
kinalaman
Corona
doon. Wala akong
impeachment as we
kinalaman
speak.
doon.
Everyone's talking about the Corona impeachment as we talk now. So I'm just
Yeah.
saying, maybe Ronald knows a thing or two. Wala akong alam. Wala kami sinasabi.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of Migs, let's talk about Migs Nograles. So kanina doon sa hearing ni Migs Nograles, na-booking itong, or at least, itong allegations by this Chinese spy tycoon caught in, I think, is it in Thailand or Malaysia, who said na siya mismo ang nag-alaga doon sa case ni Alice Go. Therefore, the implication is Alice Go could be, after all, some sort of a spy or auxiliary of the Chinese intelligence services. What is your read of that? Nagwala si Alice Go doon. Napikon talaga siya doon. I could see, immediately she went into like, ayoko nang... So, what do you think is going on? Maybe after all, she is indeed a spy.
Yes, may ganun naman from the start naman, may ganung klaseng mga claims, may ganung klaseng possibility, no?
Pero walang
Ah,
ganyan testimony from another one who's
pero
caught.
walang
Yun
ganyan
nga, ito may
testimony.
testimony ng ibang Chinese
Mas
oo.
kwan yun eh, mas yung dati suspicions dahil she was hiding in plain sight. Tapos meron siyang enough resources, may enough wherewithal, no? Para maging mayor, no? Maging mayor at maging patron ng napakalaking Pogo Hub, no? So may ganun naman talagang possibility. Pero ako kasi hindi pa sa akin decisive itong itong Al Jazeera article na ito na pinanggalingan nitong mga claims na ito eh. Hindi ko pa sigurado itong alleged spy, no? Kung paano
Si
lahat diyan
Ye
mga alleged.
Zhejiang. So he's saying he's not a reliable witness? But
Lahat
why
yan
would
ay
he say this?
lahat yan ay alleged pa lang eh. Ang sigurado ko kasi na spy yung lumabas sa Rappler. Yun sigurado ko yun. Pero yun, hindi
At
hindi
lumabas na
hindi
ng bansa. At lumabas na rin ng bansa.
tsaka yun kahit not a single word. Yung mga real spies hindi nagpapa-interview eh. No, no, no.
Ito tycoon naman kasi so nagdadoble
Oo.
cara. Siguro auxiliary din to. So puro silang siguro auxiliary. You know?
Iba kasi yung spy, iba yung assets.
Yeah. That's why
Halimbawa,
I use the word
ibig sabihin
assets.
kahit yung mga triads na kalaban ng Chinese government can become assets, no?
Sicario, essentially. So,
Iba 'yun, no?
intelligence asset. Okay, sorry. Let me
Oo,
be
iba 'yun, no?
intelligence asset rather
Uh,
than spy. That is
yes,
very likely. Yeah.
iba yun. Halimbawa, nung lumabas ng bansa si Alice Guo, kung siya ay talagang spy, bumalik na siya ng China dahil mas safe siya ron eh, no? Mas safe siya ron. Kung siya ay triad, magdadalawang isip siya because triads disappear in China. No? Nawawala. They can be assets, but they are also
Vulnerable. Yeah.
kalaban ng estado. No?
They're
Kalaban sila ng estado. Halimbawa, some corrupt Communist Party officials may use triads to launder their money out labas ng China. So,
it's a love-hate
magkaiba 'yon.
relationship. It's a
Yes, magkaiba 'yon.
multifarious
Kaya,
relationship.
kaya ang tingin ko rito, not necessarily black and white. No?
Yeah, shades of gray, shades of gray. Speaking
Uh,
of that, shades of gray, let's have our interesting Nasaan na si Harry Ronald? Parang tagal niya na wala. Paano siya nakatago? Nasa Pilipinas kaya or baka nang Indonesia rin? I mean, if you're Harry Roque, where will you hide? In plain
if you
sight?
have
In
if you
Bali? In ano where?
if you have money, you can do almost anything. Huwag mong kalimutan, nagbigay siya ng 37 million sa campaign ni Sara. Ibig sabihin, mahaba ang kanyang pise. Mahaba ang kanyang pise.
Yung account
At
pa lang
kung
ni Mr.
siya
Supra,
ay
di ba?
At kung siya ay allegedly connected dito sa mga Pogo, which are basically triads, no? Ay meron kang network na pwedeng pagtaguan, no? Halimbawa, yung mga principal dito sa Pogos hindi naman nahuhuli. Ang nahuli yung mga inutusang bumili ng suka eh. Yung mga Cassandra Ong, yung mga Alice Goo, no? Yung mga batang mga babae.
O
Pero
suka
yung
para
mga
million-million ang kinikita.
pero yung mga kwan talaga, at least si Tony Tony Yang, yan big time yan. Yung kapatid ni Michael Yang, yan big time yan. Pero most of yung mga kwan talaga, yung leaders ng syndicate, hindi na nakita.
Oh.
Either they're here
Maalala
hiding o nakalabas na sila ng bansa. Pero kung ikaw ay may pera, no? Hindi ko naman sinasabi na may ganyan akong experience, no? Either ikaw ay may pera o ikaw
Ano,
ay
di ba
may
nasa Matrix ka dati tapos wala
o-
ka?
hindi, pero nagsimula naman tayo sa underground eh. So ibig sabihin, meron kang skill
Na,
set na develop in
nawala
terms
si
of
Harry. Nawala si Harry.
nawala si Harry. Pero
Oh,
kung ikaw ay may pera at meron kang
hindi mo na
network,
kailangan ng skill set.
pwede ka magtago.
I'm
No? Pwede ka
sure Harry has other talents, Ronald, that we rather not discuss. But no,
pwede ka magtago.
I'm talking about
Or hindi ako
digital
magugulat,
analysis.
may chance na may chance na nag-alis guo ka rin, nakalabas ka ng bansa, no?
My
Dahil
chance na baka kasi may nag-comment bakit lahat nahuhuli sa Davao?
or
Is that
nahuli sa
really?
Indonesia. Or nahuli sa Indonesia, no?
Or
Sabi
nag-Indonesia
nila,
after Davao?
palabasin si Harry para mahuli, no?
I'm
Paano
not sure.
yung wife niya? Yung wife niya nasa labas na ng bansa. Yung wife ni Harry. Yun,
Oh,
may record yung Bureau of Immigration na nakalabas ng bansa.
interesting
No?
times. Si Mr. Supra, nandito pa rin?
mukhang nandito pa, no? Mukhang
Kasi
nandito pa.
nag-gym na. Medyo balik na siya sa gym. Parang I think this chapter of my
Kaya
life is
kaya
done.
baka walang tiga buhat na mga maleta ni Harry habang siya ay nagtatago. Kawawa naman, no? Kawawa naman, no?
Parang medyo pinabayaan niya yung sarili niya. I hope he takes care of himself.
Pero pero kanyan, kailangan may patunayan yung ating mga security agency dahil mapapahiya sila kung hindi nila mahuhuli si Harry kung nandito pa si Harry.
Si Torre, di ba, na ano na siya, interim na siya ng CIDG ngayon. So baka PNP will
Yes,
level
yes.
up now that Torre is the head of the intelligence and all.
Yes, yes. Yung promotion niya ay ang tingin baka hindi siya kayang bilhin. Ang problema kasi ng ating mga law enforcement agencies ay madaling bilhin eh. Halimbawa,
Wala
itong
ako sila.
sinasabi na protector o enabler ni Alice Goo is a police chief. No less than a police chief, no? Ah, kaya halimbawa si Albayalde, police chief na link sa Ninja Cops sa drugs. So hindi ka magugulat kung
Pampanga,
merong
no?
mga hindi lang high ranking, the highest ranking, no, sa ating kapulisan na tumutulong sa mga likes of Harry Roque.
Dapat si Torre gawing DLG secretary kung alis na si Abalos. You need someone like serious and...
Merong mukhang may chismis ako diyan eh.
Oh,
Merong nakapila. May
I'm
nakapila diyan.
sure. I'm sure marami.
Hindi ko lang alam kung may magagawa siya dahil ah, dati siyang congressman,
Uy,
malapit siya kay BBM,
sige
no?
lang.
Pero
Clue pa, clue.
wala naman siyang background sa local government
Yun
o
lang.
kaya sa o
Baka
kaya sa
mamarohas tayo dyan. Baka
oh.
mamarohas tayo dyan. Yung
So
nag-DLG secretary
may,
out of,
may chismis, no?
mamaya i-text mo lang sa akin tapos sasabihin ko, according to informed sources who's not Ronald Llamas. Itago natin sa pangalan Ronald Llamas. Let's go to the latter part of discussion. Balikan natin ito si Ma'am Mercado because ang hanash nila Sara is very very DDS, very predictable. Sinisira-sira ito si Mercado. Sinasabi na ito ay kumuha ng 16 million pesos na I mean, bribery supposedly. Ito daw magaling magmarites, whatever. So ang point ko is, if this Yusek Mercado was a person who could easily make so much money, why would she risk her life now? And if she really did something big or was about to do something really big corruption, bakit hindi na ombudsman office to? So I'm wondering what
Yes.
di ba? What is Sarah
Una,
thinking?
ang sinasabi nila, may ombudsman case siya. Pero nung chinek yung records, mukhang yung mga kaso na yon ay wala na. Ibig sabihin, hindi siya nag-prosper. No? Hindi siya nag-prosper. Yung mga sinasabi nilang ombudsman cases. No? Ikalawa, ay mukhang solid naman yung kanyang track record. Dating head ng Development Academy of the Philippines, no? Several decades na nasa gobyerno, no? So medyo solid naman yung kanyang record. Tapos yung sinasabi nila ng mga kaso ay parang hindi na consummate. Ibig sabihin hindi na patunayan. Kaya wala na siya. Malinis yung kanyang record.
Faceless.
Ang tanong lang sa akin ay ah, yung sinasabi ni Mercado na binayad sa kanya ng 50,000, parang masyado maliit, no?
Medyo
Para sa
chipang.
para sa ganung
Chipang.
klaseng sa ganung klaseng ah,
Baka Ronald, naubusan
korupsyon.
na yung confidential fund. Naubusan na. Kaya mga pitik-pitik na lang.
Sabi ko 50,000, no? Para sa nasa kwan siya, nasa back, nasa bids.
Nasa envelope lang, ganyan-ganyan lang. Yeah,
So,
that
yun lang yung aking unang naisip. Sabi ko, ba't ang liit naman? No?
so, medyo chinipang. Baka kasi,
Ang DepEd, ang pinakamalaki ang budget
yeah,
sa buong
bigger than
gobyerno.
defense.
Oh, at diyan malalim yung corruption sa mga libro lang eh. No? Sa mga libro lang, sa mga ghost employees, sa mga schools na
Leaders,
hindi
leaders.
itatayo. No? Kanyan, ang laki ng corruption niya. Sabi nga ni Secretary Angara, nung siya ay nag-take over, ay marami siyang nadiskubre ng mga anomalya in the billions. In the
Yes.
billions, not in the hundreds of millions, in the billions. No? Kaya medyo malalim at malawak
Oo,
yung
mas marami
history ng
overthink.
corruption sa DepEd.
Kaya
Kaya
umiwas yata sa akin si Angga kasi interview ko siya sa baka marami siyang madulas dyan. I'm just kidding. Sir Ronald, let's go to the last part of our discussion. Okay, so what is the way forward now? Idamay naman kita sa mga nagbabash sa akin. Sir Ronald, kasi nagpa-survey ako kahapon, my own Hey Darian surveys. Nagtanong ako, kamusta ang kakamping ngayon? Parang solid pa rin, medyo dormant, kailangan pa i-organize. That's option 2. And then third is, babalik yan 2028 but for Riza or babalik yan again 2028 but for Lenny again, di ba? So, medyo spread siya pretty much. Of course, marami pa rin bumoto ng solid pa rin kasi TikTok yan. Twitter yan. So, more, obviously, medyo may leaning yung following ko and all of that on TikTok and on Twitter and all of that. But nevertheless, close to 30% said hindi pa rin well organized and hindi pa rin clear kung kay Risa or kay Lenny pa rin. So 44% solid pa rin. This is more than 2,000 votes. Not organized 26%, 70% for Risa in 2028, 13% for Lenny in 2028. What is your read of how can we have a constructive discussion ng kakamping without hurting certain feelings? Or maybe we should really hurt feelings, wala talagang choice because we have to level up and we have to have proper honest conversations.
Una, hindi ako ganun ka-optimistic na on its own ay nandyan siya dormant at babalik after 3 to 4 years. Hindi ako, medyo skeptical ako sa ganun.
Gonna
Dahil
swim on
yan
and off.
kasi,
Yeah.
yan, ino-organize mo yan eh. No? At nung 2022, may mga nagkaroon ng PTSD, may mga na-frustrate, may mga nalungkot, may mga naging indifferent, bumalik lang sa
Nag-migrate.
may mga nag-migrate. So, hindi na harness eh. Kung hindi mo yun na harness, significantly merong nawala. Ngayon yung nawala ay babalik ba diyan kaagad? Depende sa magiging organizing at saka political strategy mo. Doon ako sasang-ayon. Hindi yan yung wala kang gagawin for the next 3 years, tapos yan ay magiging dormant, tapos pag inactivate mo sa 2028, yan ay mabubuhay. Hindi ako naniniwala sa ganon. No?
The other
Depende
point,
yan sa
Ronald,
gagawin.
people are raising is this is really a Lenny thing that it's just really a Lenny thing that hindi ito transferable. That hindi pwede sa Chekibam, sa Kibam, kay Risa, hindi daw pwede. Yun yung isa pang sentiment na I see. Not as much as I thought, but nevertheless.
Well, tingin ko lahat yan ay transferable eh, no? Halimbawa, ay kung maganda ang brand mo, no, ay pupunta yan kung nasaan yung magandang brand. Halimbawa, tingin ko bahagi ng Lenny ng Pink, bahagi ng Duterte, bahagi ng Marcos pumupunta sa mga tulpo. No? Ibig sabihin, hindi necessary na pupunta yan dun sa iyo na. No? Posible yan na mabawas hindi lamang sa mga hindi lamang kay Lenny, kung hindi mismo sa Duterte, mismo sa mga Marcos at mapunta sa iba. Mapunta sa iba. Kaya nandun yung labanan eh, no? Nandun yung labanan. Medyo mahirap kung halimbawa sa Marcoses wala kang viable alternative kay Marcos, no? Mahirap sa mga Duterte dahil nagsisimula silang bumaba. Imagine mo Big R kung na-anticipate nila na mawawasak itong unit team na hindi ganun kahirap ma-anticipate dahil alam mo naman walang substance yung unit team eh. Ibig sabihin, it will explode like a hot air balloon sooner than later. Ibig sabihin, kung inaasahan mo na mangyayari yan, sana na-harness mo yung pink wave at kung ma-harness mo, ikaw ngayon ang isa, if not the dominant political force with the destruction of the unit team. Yun yung doon ako lang hihinayang. Pero
Lack
syempre
of
that is
foresight.
partly in retrospect pero hindi rin purely in retrospect eh. Dahil from our vantage point, alam naman natin na yung unit team ay hindi sustainable. Dahil nga wala siyang solid ideological, political, even personal foundation. Wala namang friendship between the Duterte and the Marcoses no? Lalo nang walang ideological moorings at even tactical political unities, kapos din So, kung ganun ang pagtingin mo, kung nandun ka sa 2022 ng May or June, alam mo hindi ito tatagal. At ano yung dapat mong ginawa? Hinarness mo yung 15-16 million votes ni Lenny at yung hundreds of thousands of volunteers na hindi nagpahakot sa mga rallies at pinotektahan yung boto. Imagine mo kahit kahit a small percentage lang yan, you would have been the major political force ngayon, 2 years after.
It's really,
Sayang.
oh, I mean, why are they wearing pink? Bakit Checky Bomb and all of them are like blue, shades of blue, Tiffany green, whatever. Like, bakit wala sa kanila nagpi-pink? Doesn't
Well,
that not help if
siguro,
they're not also trying to mobilize the
yeah.
pink?
Well, siguro dahil ang tingin nila baka ayun nga, baka tanggap nila na nawala na yung pink, no? Kahit sinasabi nila na yan ay dormant lang, baka deep within, baka iniisip ng iba, kinakailangan nating i-reinvent yung ating mantra. Baka kinakailangan nating i-reinvent yung ating narrative, no? Which could also be positive. Halimbawa, from yellow, ginawang pink dahil na-demonize ng husto yung yellow nung panahon ni Digong. No? Mismo si Leni hindi tumakbo as Liberal Party, tumakbo siya as independent dahil na-demonize yung yellow at yung organizational constituency niyan, yung liberal. Kaya nag-independent at gumawa ng
So why would
bagong
you rebrand the rebrand when in fact it kind of worked, didn't it? I mean, yes, natalo si Lenny because combine yung dalawang higanteng dynasties na yan, trapos na yan. Ay, sorry, mga dynasties na yan. But now that 50, 60 million could make all the difference. Who knows? Even in 2028, right? Imagine if that
yes, but
part of that was
pero
behind Checky Bam and all. I think Chel would have run now for Senate.
yes, kung na-consolidate mo at na-harness mo yung pink wave na yan nung starting nung June 2022. Pero for 2 years, halos walang nangyari. Si Risa lang yung nag-iingay eh. No, si Risa, kahit si Kiko at saka si Bam tahimik eh. Even the Liberal Party tahimik eh. So, kaya hindi lang vacuum eh, no? Talagang nawala eh. So, hindi ako magugulat kung kinakailangan nilang mag-reinvent dahil may mga frustrated, no? May mga frustrated at
And
may
speaking of,
mga galit.
and last part, Rona, I know both of us are a little bit about to collapse, but last part, so kanina with Watara Kusaka, our good friend, professor friend from Tokyo, we talked about the fact na hindi na bebenta yung based on the datas we have and also, on the ground studies, hindi yung anti-corruption, yung anti-poverty alleviation, sabi niya hindi nagagana yan. In fact, sinabi niya Wataro na hindi pwede yung angat buhay lang na poverty alleviation. It has to be more aspirational. It has to be more grand. Maybe not Maharlika Fund level of grand na questionable, but something that appeals to the aspiration of middle class, the C and D, who together are the majority of voters. What do you think should be the issues that they can focus on aside from the usual anti-corruption and poverty alleviation, which I think everyone will do in one way or another, or claim not, or even the Dutertes are claiming they're against corruption or whatever.
Yeah, well, actually, yung ating movement, the progressive movement, is built on the foundation, on the analysis that our institutions doesn't work. Ang problema, yung mantra na yan, ang nakaagaw ay yung mga populist. The institutions doesn't work, so kinakailangan natin ng quick solutions. And we are the solutions. Yung ganong klaseng 1 plus 1 equals ganito. So, yun yung problema. Atin dapat yan eh. Tayo yung main critic ng failed institutions. Tayo yung main critic ng failed system. And yet, yung nakakakuha niyan are the Trumps of this world, no? Ang nakakakuha niyan are the Modis of this world. Yun ang nakakakuha eh, di ba? Kaya in a way, hindi ako magugulat doon sa sinabi ng friend mo na yung part ng being aspirational ay to present a problem big enough and a solution big enough, no? And make it very emotional. Make it very emotional. Yun yung populist ethos na madalas natin pinag-uusapan shouldn't be just the monopoly of the conservative right or the reactionary right.
Actually,
No, dapat
more hijack
dapat
reaction, right?
dapat kunin din natin, no? Dapat kunin din natin 'yon. 'Yun yung madalas natin pag-usapan this past 1.5 years na wag natin isuko 'yan. Na lagi kong ini-invoke si Laclao at saka si Move, no? Yung aking mga paboritong ideologues.
Fire. Oh yeah. I was just listening to
Sila
Evita's
sila Brother Yard, no?
right.
Simulacra. No? Yun.
Yeah. Medyo
So,
pa-postmodern na tayo, but I definitely performativity. I would just use the term. There has to be some performative competence there because unfortunately, in our era of social media and all of that, you have to be a little bit good in. I don't know about the TikTok dances I'm seeing so far, no offense, but I think hindi pwede pa-cute lang. There should be a little bit of fire and fiesta. I think I and Ronald, in our own little ways, diba? We have some fire and fiesta, except today. I think this was the most behaved version of R&R in the history of all podcasts. So, thank you so much, Ronald. I know there's so much more we want to discuss. Let's just do it next week properly. Sana kalye survey naman tayo ulit or back in studio with some of the great guests. Hopefully si Lord, si Kristan, mga yan, pwede sila mag-join sa atin. Not to mention, we want to get also LGU leaders. On that note, Ronald, get well. I'll try to get well and hopefully...
anytime, anytime. Kahapon nga, kasama ko si Lord eh. Sabi ko, oh Lord, sabi ni Richard, magsasama daw tayo ah. Sabi niya,
Oh, God willing.
talaga? Baka magtago muna ako kung ikaw makakasama ko, sabi ni Lord.
Ayun. Hindi yan ang sinabi sa akin. Iba yung sinabi niya sa akin. But Ronald, pakitext sa akin kung sino gusto mag-DLG secretary para...
Oo,
Oh,
oo.
may
Sige.
informed source ako na hindi Ronald Llamas.
Sabihin ko sa'yo, ano? Basta, yung kanyang...
Yung pauses mo, doon ako kinakabahan kung may pause ka. Thank you so much.
Sige, sige.
Ronald Llamas,
Good
my
night.
my comrade. Have a
Happy,
lovely weekend and more power to you and talk to you soon.
okay,
Hopefully,
happy Sunday.
same to you, brother, comrade.